Now tuned in to the Wrestling Podcast live from the PWI 500 think tank to come up with that list. This is 808s and Chair Shots. I am your host, Jeff, joined as always, old school way, old school, my guy, Nick. Nick, say what's up to the people.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Nick, how you been doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right. Got a chance to listen to Full Sport Press latest episode. It was great. It was great to hear
Yeah.
the disparity.
Yeah, a lot of Florida State talk on that episode.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it was y'all starving over there.
It's all right.
But it's early in the season. You never know.
You
You never know.
I got humbled. You know what I'm saying? I got
Twice.
Yeah. That second one is
I think the second one was worse than the first one.
because you could kind of chalk that first one up. It's in Ireland. It's it's the first, all those things. But that second game, whew,
Tough. Starving over there. But early season, things can change.
Oh man.
Just hopefully not against us. But anyway, how's your week going?
Man, it's good. It's good. It's been a crazy day. Kendrick dropped music out of the blue. I was here for that. Shannon Sharp did Shannon Sharp things. We're gonna let that ride though. We're gonna let that ride. Shout out to him though.
This has been a wild
shout
day.
Out to him.
Wild day.
Yeah, man. Just shout out to him. Do your thing. That's tough. It's tough. But nah, man. Other than that, I'm straight, bro. I got no complaints. Shout out to Andrea. She's out on assignment this week. Get to feeling better, young lady.
Get well.
Yeah, man. Let's get started, Nick. And they can follow us or they can find us on 808s Chair Shots on the Instagram and the Facebook. You can follow us on the Twitter on 808s Chair Shots because there's a character limit on the Twitter handle names. But what else? We out there thriving in that community, having a good time, talking and wrestling with the homies like we always do about this time. So let's get going, man. AEW had another pay-per-view 2 weeks after their WrestleMania quotes All In. They had All Out. They had All Out. They did this last year too, if I'm not mistaken, right? They did this last year.
Yeah.
Hey man, first of all, before we even get into the murder attempts in the pay-per-view, I know that's what everyone's here for. There was at least 3 murder attempts in that pay-per-view. Like real life, they tried to kill someone. I don't know how feasible and lucrative having your quote unquote biggest pay-per-view of the year and then 2 weeks later having another one. I don't get it. Not really here for it. That's a lot of wrestling from AEW. And what I mean by that is, it's going their pay-per-views, you just go ahead and strap down for 4 or 5 hours. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Like we know we here for at least 4, no matter what. We're not getting anything less than 4. So on average, right? That we've seen some 5, 6, maybe even a 7 one time, I think, but we definitely getting 4. So 2 weeks later, just after having one,
they need to work on the timing with All Out. I think it needs to be at least a month and a half, I would say. But I didn't like the space between that either. So I agree with you on that. They do need to figure out something else with All Out. At least put it a month or something. Like that's just crazy to have it 2 weeks after.
Murder attempts on pay-per-view. There was
multiple
syringe. There was a chair shot to the head, which we now know is a gimmicked chair, so that's fine. That's cool. There was a plastic bag over your world champion's head where he couldn't breathe. Wow. And I believe someone tried to kill one of the young ladies in her match too. I'm sorry, it escapes my name. Nick, did AEW take it too far?
If you want to be serious, right, it it went a little far for what we know now, for what we wanted to be safe in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going back 20, 30 years, this is normal ECW wrestling right here.
Whew.
I was still shocked with the paper bag thing. That was kind of, I mean, the plastic bag was kind of like, oh, going back to the Terry Funk days, huh?
Yeah.
So I see that. I just see this, pay a little homage, but it's kind of crazy to see it now. Sign of the times, as they would say.
But I'm getting older because obviously I'm not. I have gotten older since watching ECW and being a huge ECW fan, but and I'm watching it live, and I'm thinking to myself like, "Damn, dude! Like, what are we doing right now?" Like, and I'm not one of those people that are saying, "Oh, they went too far," and calling for some. I don't know. People are people are people. They're going they're hopping in their on their social medias and doing think pieces about it. I'm not that guy, but I'm also like, yeah, man, that was a lot though. Like I guess because it was one thing if you just do the bag spot and it's like, damn, they try to kill Daniel Bryan. I mean
Mhm.
Brian Danielson. It's like, that's messed up. They did swerve one match later. like it was just a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Bro.
that was
It was a
terrible.
lot. Um,
That was terrible.
go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm just saying it's terrible with the timing of those matches and putting that stuff back to back like
Yeah,
that.
I think, and some people think it's to their detriment. Their crowd, if you are an AEW fan, you love them. So I give them that. Their crowd, they be on it, bro. Like they don't miss a beat. They tapped in. But man, with me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like they pushed me right to the brink of I can't do it no more.
They were pushing it. They were pushing the boundaries on this one. I can honestly say that.
Pay-per-view Wrestle Dream coming up in October, a month from today, a month from when we were recording this, and Matt, Wrestle Dream is cool. It is what it is. It's a month away. I understand having to go to the monthly pay-per-view. I truly hope, though, I want someone there to possibly. This can't be working for them. These monthly pay-per-views, like it. I'll go there later. But they got a dope main event. They got Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness now for the world title. We all know Daniel Bryan is on his way out, and I believe this is the one that's going to be in Washington, right? The Wrestle Dream that's going to be in Washington. You want to fact check that one real quick? But I believe that's going to be in Washington. That's going to be because Brian, we know Brian is on his
Washington,
so
yes.
this makes sense. He and Nigel McGuinness go back. They have had their storied rivalry through the Indies, so that's going to be fun. I'm going to watch, but let's just try not to kill anyone. Like let's just try not to attempted murder.
They're gonna do something though. Trust me.
We know they are, but man, you ain't. That was come on. Am I tripping, bro? Like that was a lot. Like, that was.
I mean, like I said, sign of the times. It's a lot now.
All right. PWI every year does their top 100 or 500.
500.
500 wrestlers. Glimpse at that list, it makes you realize how much wrestling you don't watch. Because you know what I'm saying? It makes you realize, oh, who the fuck is that?
Who is that person?
It didn't take long for me to say, who the fuck is that? But I consider myself a fan. You know what I'm saying? And, I had one of the homies hit me, was like, man, I think you're just a WWE fan. I said, nah, because I watch TNA and I try to watch AEW. It's only so many hours in a week, bro. I can't watch New Japan and some random MLW match on top of like I'm not getting paid for this. Like if I was getting paid for it, true indeed. But Jesus, that's a lot. So we're not going to go through.
It's a lot of wrestling. I'm just saying, it's a lot of wrestling.
If you want to, like, if you want to, you can watch wrestling every day of the week. NXT Tuesday, AEW Wednesday, TNA Thursday. For some reason still comes on. Collision on Saturday, and they're probably going to be a pay per view, or you can take a break on Sunday if you want to, and you probably can find MLW. Oh no, Women of Wrestling is a Sunday too. That comes on Sunday here in Nashville. So if you want to, you can watch a wrestling program for an hour or 2 hours of your day every single day. Wow.
Notables when we look at this list. Joe Hendry is 51. EC3 is 40.
You gotta love it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's found a way to take that character and push it along. I don't think he's over Joe Hendry though. That's a bit much.
That wrestler that doesn't like black women is 15th on the list. Yeah. All right, let's go with number 10, Mystical. Number 9 is Gunther. 8, John Moxley.
Okay.
7, MJF. 6, Damian Priest.
That's a good year for Priest.
It was. It's a good year for him. Number 5 is Naito.
Okay.
I don't know how to say
Don't even try, bro.
pronounce the first name. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna start his name like that. 4 is Seth freaking Rollins. Okay. 3 is Will Ospreay. 2 is Swerve Strickland.
Swerve.
And number 1 is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Wow. I mean, yeah, last year was Roman.
Yeah.
So the person who dethroned Roman, who finished his story, that's got to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Swerve, I believe
sense.
Swerve is 2. Swerve had a great year. I like Swerve at 2. I like that. And be champion in 2nd when they do whoever champion when they do the list. So whatever. But I think Swerve is deserving. 3 was Ospreay, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. 10 over. I don't know why Moxley's in the top 10. Dave Meltzer, PWI loves John Moxley. I don't see him. Is he a great talent? True indeed. Yeah, for sure. I just didn't see him at the top 10 this year.
Bryan Danielson is number 14.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Interesting.
Craps and giggles. Give me 20 through 10.
20 through 10. 20 is Eddie Kingston. 19, Mustafa Ali. 18, Vikingo. He was kind of injured too, so that's a hell of a drop off from top 10 to 18.
Okay.
Jey Uso, 17. Okay. Sonata is 16. Never heard of him.
I heard Sonata. I got
15.
Sonata.
The rest of Sonata. Yeah. 15 is the guy who doesn't like black women. 14 is Bryan Danielson. 13 is Drew McIntyre. 12 is Sami Zayn. 11, Samoa Joe.
Okay. Probably would put Sami top 10. But that's probably WWE biased. And this is just for men, right? Because there's a separate women's list.
This is the men list. I think the women is like 100, I think. 100, yeah. I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that's like 100. It's a long list.
100 of those names, but I mean, shout out to PWI. They put a lot of time into this, and it's become a thing. Lists are always a thing, but this is becoming, this, especially the pandemic time. I mean, it's always been big, but pandemic, I feel like this list became more and more prominent. And for a company that doesn't really skew WWE, 3 of the last 4 have been WWE people, if I'm not mistaken, right? Roman, they had
pretty much, yep.
So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Seth was up number 1. Yeah,
you got the American Nightmare.
The Shield was 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
Also, shout out to Isaiah Wolf,
friend of the show.
He's on there number 492.
Friend of the show. Shout out to him.
Friend of the show, shout out to you.
No, wasn't on the docket. Is there a world where we ever get a Shield reunion, or where there is a company where all three members of the Shield are under the same roof again?
That's a tough one because it seems like Roman and Seth are on one side and John Moxley is on the other side when it comes to ideas of what they want to do. And every time you see an interview with John Moxley and they talk about the Shield, next thing you know, you got Seth and them coming. And so it's like they're going back and forth. And Roman just says like 2 words the cause of the day. So I don't know if that'll happen. I'll say it'll take a come to Jesus moment. Almost. It's not there yet, but it's almost to the come to Jesus moment. So right now, I say it's a no.
With Vince,
both ways.
Vince being gone, I can see Moxley coming back eventually to the Fed, right? I don't, a lot of things would have to change for Seth and definitely for Roman to be in an AEW locker room. Like some things would have to really change for that.
Oh, it would be some big beef hours with Seth and Will Ospreay alone.
Good stuff. So I would really love to see. I was thinking about that when you were going over the top 10. It was like, dang, bro, that might be 4 Horsemen aside, NWO aside, the Shield might be the best faction ever.
You can throw that in there because all 3 is at least successful in their field by themselves.
All 3 first ballot Hall of Famers. All 3. Roman's probably the greatest of his generation. That's crazy. Seth held down a whole company. During when Roman was hurt or having health issues, and then Moxley or Dean Ambrose was great at his own time. It just was short lived. They all 3 were world champions. So it's crazy. But shout out to them, man. You see the Vince? Shout out to them. See the Vince documentary?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Because when it dropped, it came out of nowhere in the middle of the day, and I was at work.
Okay.
And I looked, I'm like, wait, it's a trailer? Yeah. And I looked, I'm like, oh, okay, look at it. I'm like, oh, looked at the people. Yeah. I was like, oh, they've been talking nice about them. Oh, look at that. And then I saw Bret Hart, and I was like, uh-oh. Ain't no more nice guy than that. I'm looking forward. I got to wait. I'm going to watch the first episode is going to tell me a lot.
I think they started this documentary one way, and then when everything went left, because they had the legal act, WWE couldn't stop it, and they took it another way. Like, I think there's going to be a part of this that's really, really wholesome. Vince is a businessman, self-made billionaire, and then it's going to take a turn, like episode 3 or 4. It's going to take a turn, man. Like, I totally see that, because that trailer alone was like, I'm tapped in for this. Like, I'm ready for this, because
that person got to set this tone, baby. As soon as that tone gets set, I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I know that turn gonna come. Yeah. When that turn comes, it's gonna hit hard.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I was listening to something. They were talking about Linda McMahon saying, like, basically she hasn't seen him or doesn't think Vince is doing good. Or, like, people are saying Vince is down right now. You lose what what drives you every day, and you lose that. That's tough. But shout out, well, not shout out to Vince, because Vince that.
Ain't no shout out to that. Yeah, you gotta stay over there.
Don't want the man to die. That's that way. What's next on the list, man?
All right. Let me see. On the list, what I have here, Triple H finally got his wish. The long wish that he has been waiting for.
Okay.
The wish that he has been praying for. Okay. Raw is going down to 2 hours. What are your thoughts?
Man, 7 years too late, I guess? I don't know. 3 idea from day one. right? But if you're the USA Network, it was a great idea because for you, you knew on Monday nights you had 3 hours of live content every Monday that was going to guarantee you a certain amount of viewership. All those things. But man, I can't tell you the last time, other than when I was actually there in person. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched a full 3 hour Raw. It's been years, bro. I mean years. Even post WrestleMania Raws, I've flipped and gone to somewhere else and come back when it's popping. Like 3 hours is a lot to ask on every Monday. 2 hours in this day and time is still a lot, but I think it helps, and it's also going to position them for Netflix. What do you think?
I think this helps with Netflix as well. I've been wanting them to cut down 3 hours a long
Yeah,
time ago, and I know they had a. That's why their roster is always so
yeah,
big on
yeah.
Raw. But when it comes down to it, you never show much of the roster in the 3 hours you get anyway. So I feel like them condensing it and making the stories better and trying to switch it out every
Yeah,
show. I think that'll work for two
yeah.
hours. So 2 hours will help. Maybe they'll step the game up on the stories a little more too.
I don't have any firsthand knowledge of this, but I would assume with Netflix, because people, like we all people, are paying for their subscription. Those Netflix ads, like where would they come from? So they won't having 3 hours of nonstop like dialogue or matches is going to be tough. So shorten it down to 2 hours going to Netflix. That way you can kind of build in some breaks. And even if you want to go back to a longer show, you have that threshold to do so. But it's just without having to plan around commercial breaks. That sounds like 2 hours is the best way to go with that. That's how I think. I think it still works. It helps them out by doing a 2 hour show. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm here for it. Now
It
I did
does.
see something when they showed the first graphic for Raw being Monday and then SmackDown being Friday on USA. It did seem like they were saying SmackDown's going to move to 3 hours though.
What?
3 hours on a Monday is one thing.
Mm.
3 hours on a Friday night,
3 hours on a Friday.
cheese, Louise mac and cheese.
You pushing it.
Man, you asking a
You
lot. You
pushing it.
asking a lot right there. You asking a
People have
lot.
their own things going on
Yeah,
Friday
man.
too. Ooh boy, no, you might not get half the viewership on for them two
And I
hours.
get it. You skewing younger, but then you aren't, because that's the same show where Rocky's getting on there and doing full final boss things with the microphone in his hand. So I don't know, man. Like
That's a bad
3 hours
idea.
on a Friday. That might be worse than 3 hours on a Monday. I'm gonna come clean. That's tough.
Right. I think that doesn't work. I think that even if they do it for what, two
Yeah,
episodes, two, three
yeah.
episodes, it's not going to last for a whole month.
Nah,
I can guarantee
nah.
that it's not. They got to stick with two with that too. That's a lot to ask. That's a whole lot
On a
to ask.
Friday is crazy. Um, that, I
Man,
hope that was just someone like a fan, like, cause I saw it on Twitter. It's like, wait, that, and people, yeah, no, whoo, shit, no, 3 hours on the Friday is crazy. But
mm-mm.
still, I'm more curious now as a fan to see how this Netflix thing really is going to work. I mean, I know Netflix has amped up the original content, the live content, I should say, here recently. So I know they have the servers, pardon me, to handle it. I just wonder how this is going to look every week for them having a live show on their streaming service every week.
Yeah, you want the best digital possible as much as you can, and it's kind of. I mean, I know they got the servers, but you got the cameras and got the right technicians in the background to handle stuff like that. So I hope they have the right people, and especially to command something of that large of a nature. Because what Raw averages what 3 million,
Yeah, every week.
2 million,
Yeah,
3 every week. Yeah, so Hope they got the right people in place, because if not, they're gonna hear about it from the
Yeah,
fans. Trust
yeah.
me.
And you figure, I don't know the numbers for Netflix, but you figure that number may drop. It may go up initially, but that number may drop simply because it's a new thing. And I know we're all streaming, and I get it, but it also becomes like a little more uh, difficult. May not be the right word, but a little more.
Need more of an
Yeah,
adjustment
adjustment
period.
period for getting used to. And Monday, I know it's gonna be rough on people like myself this time of year because Monday is always Monday Night Football, and it was. I know channel. I'm dating myself by saying channel surfing, like going back and forth, but you do still have the. You know what I'm saying? But you still, even in your stage
Yeah.
of streaming, you still can go from ESPN to USA, ESPN to USA. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still an option. So now I got to go out of my Netflix app into my ESPN app to nah. You gonna make people make a choice, and I get it
Mm-hmm.
though. It's a streaming platform, so once it airs, it's gonna be available on demand every week. But nah, man, it's tough. Man, other than that, man, it's been a. I ain't gonna say it's been a slow week. I tell you something I do like that I kind of caught when I was watching Raw, watching fast forwarding through Raw. I should say earlier. I like Joe Tessitore on commentary.
He does a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah. Joe Tessitore. Now I'm a big boxing guy, so I'm used to Joe on calling the fights and things like that. So I'm a little biased,
Mm-hmm.
but he makes sense in WWE. He's good. He's good at that. I like Joe. That was a good addition. It's not quite Pat, but nobody's Pat, right? Nobody's Pat McAfee, but
Nobody.
but I think Joe Tessitore is a good move. It just makes me wonder how long before we get WWE full fledged. I know UFC is there, but I wonder how long it's going to be before we get WWE on some version of it on ESPN. I don't know what that looks like, but
Hmm.
that overlap is growing. Oh, speaking of on other channels, did you see that they're having that they signed to do 4 events on NBC next year? Not
Yeah, I
not
saw
not
that.
PLEs, but like almost Sunday, almost like Saturday night main event.
Said said
Yeah,
said that made
yeah,
me. Yeah, I saw that.
that's cool. I ain't mad at
That's
that.
smart.
Yeah, like tribute to the troops,
Get to
something like that.
yeah, get something that you can stream to everybody, so everybody can enjoy it. Something that the mainstream audience would like to see, but introduce to new people what you got your product is. So I think that
And I think
works.
it's cool to me because again, dating myself, it's nostalgia almost because I remember Saturday night main event. I remember the main event. All right, I remember those random Saturday night on because we didn't have cable when I was growing up, so I remember building up anticipation to that either Saturday night main event a few times or like that one time they'll be on Saturday. It won't be like taking the place of SNL, but it'll be like 7 p.m. on a Saturday. It's a WWE event, and
Night of
like yeah,
Champions,
just
something
different
like
stuff.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like so, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty cool. Like to me, you build the stories to have a big event at this, but then also take it to your PLE. I think they're doing a good job right there. That's a good idea. I like it. And keep it,
Hmm.
and I
It
always keep
is.
NBC involved because they've had their relationship over shit almost 40 years now. So it just works. So it's smart. But man, it's been a slow week. Other than murder in AEW, attempted murder in AEW. Bloodline Wolfpack is doing Bloodline Wolfpack things. They killing it. Raw was eh, you know.
NXT was pretty solid.
I haven't got there yet. I knew that it was something. It was a couple of matches on there I wanted to see this week, but I haven't got the NXT yet. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird tuning into
Okay.
CW. I can't tell you the last time I watched anything live on CW, like when it aired. Couldn't tell you.
I think the last time I saw was some wrestling on the C. That's the crazy thing for me. Yeah, that's the last thing I seen live on them. So
Right.
yeah,
It's gonna be different. Like I get, I'm not gonna lie, I do like All American, but I watch it on Netflix. I don't really watch it on CW and it's live. So yeah, no, this is going. I think to me NXT is the right program to go to the CW because they are skewing and projecting to younger teenagers and early 20s, thing like that. And NXT is that. So I like it. We as wrestling fans do. We complain about a week or two, but we all adjust and go wherever they tell us to go because we want to enjoy the product.
right, right, right.
We being honest. I know I'm complaining right now, but I'm gonna be right there. Like ain't nothing wrong, man. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be right there on Netflix watching. I'm saying the 3 hours is 3 hours. I'm gonna be watching the 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. What about you? Before we get out of here, what you got for anything that we missed?
Oh, yeah, I got a
Go ahead.
question. Um, we know in the world of wrestling, lying is a part of the sport,
Okay.
right? So I want to ask you, what is your favorite wrestling lie? So I got
Give
mine,
me
and
yours.
yeah,
Let me think
it's
about that. Give me yours.
let me give you mine. Okay, it involves the racist that we disrespect a lot on this
Yeah.
show because we're not a
Yeah.
fan of his, and he's known for lying. If there's one wrestler you can count on a lie, it's that guy
Okay.
in red and
Okay.
gold. It's a
Okay.
racist. So my favorite wrestling lie involves him being at SummerSlam
Okay.
1992 and saying that he met a Make a Wish kid and he wrestled that night for him. And then when he came back from wrestling in 1992 at SummerSlam, remember that he came back and asked where the kid was, and the kid. Then they told him that the kid died. Again, this is
Uh huh.
1992. He wasn't in SummerSlam 1992.
Okay. Um,
There was no child. Nobody died. Yes, they were in Wimbledon. Yeah, it's true. It was in Wimbledon. It was one of the biggest ones
yeah.
ever. But was Hulk Hogan wrestling? So, my biggest wrestling lie is Hulk Hogan in SummerSlam 1992.
I'm gonna say this too. Hogan's interview on Logan Paul. I did say I was gonna check that out.
Mm.
I think he addresses a lot of stuff, and I want to check that out just to hear what he says. Um, the lie that pops up in my head is that Scott Hall was Cuban. Put off being fake Scarface, and we all loved it. That's probably my favorite lie.
That tan. That tan was good.
Man,
Whoever did this tan deserves a there's a Emmy or whatever.
we talked about FSP earlier. I showed him a picture of Scott Hall before before he started slicking his hair back and doing. He said, "Man, that was a real white man." I said, "Yes, dude. He's not Cuban at all. He just played the role." One more, one more. Now my mind's rolling. Now that Ultimate
Mm-hmm.
Warrior died, and when he came that there were three different Ultimate Warriors because he stopped taking steroids. So people thought
Mm.
that he died. That's up there.
My another favorite wrestling lie.
Okay.
When Andrea comes back, I got to hear hers too. But my other wrestling lie would be the Undertaker and Kane being brothers. Even though they trained together and everything, they was like, oh, they're the brothers of destruction.
To a podcast, Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and he broke down what all went into doing that storyline. Now we give credit to the Bloodline, we give credit to the NWO. That Undertaker, Kane, Paul Bearer was some good shit because they had that plan from day one that Undertaker was going to have a brother, and it's something he pointed out that I didn't even remember, but I even looked it up and saw is that on his first few matches before the summer, he was Kane the Undertaker. I was like, damn, that's true. Now I looked up, it was true. He was Kane the Undertaker. So I think that storyline because we get lost in everything now, but That's up in the top 10 of, yeah. Paul Bearer being the day. It was some wild shit,
R.I.P. to Paul
R.I.P.
Bearer, but
R.I.P.
man,
Paul. Yeah.
let me see. I got one more before we
Let's
go.
do it.
Another big lie. Man, I say Hakeem the Dream is another one.
Topic. That's the most racist. That's some racist shit.
That's the most racist lie of all of them.
Akeem, the African dream.
African
The
Dream.
African
That man
dream
pale as hell.
is a white man who used to
Man
be
pale.
called the one man gang. Said he was talking jive, is what they said. Dog. The
So much
80s,
racism, bro.
the 80s was a sick time to be a wrestling fan. 80s and early 90s was a sick time. Sick time. Just sick. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. We really appreciate it, man. Like, subscribe, watch the shorts, watch the videos on across all the social media platforms. We pushing everywhere. You get used to seeing these faces, handsome faces, pretty faces of Andrea when she's on. Yeah, man, just get used to seeing us, man. We out here pushing this wrestling content. Like, subscribe, leave comments, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. Hell, it's all right, good. That's what we out here for. As long as you say something and like something, subscribe to something, do something. It don't cost you nothing to do that. Do something. You got something to say to people before we got here, Nick?
Don't. I'm good.
Kids, I understand you want people to subscribe to your YouTube page. And I talked about this on another podcast. If you watch Full Sport Press, I talked about a young man circling my car at 6 a.m. in the morning on his bike that almost made me unalive him because I didn't know what was going on. I'm from a different time. You just don't do that. It was just trying to get my attention. So he says, and was asking me to subscribe to his YouTube page. If that young man is trolling on his YouTube page or if he's really trying to do this music thing. But so I need everybody. Now he got some funny stuff on there. He got some good little content for him playing basketball. I don't know what the music is doing though. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So I'm just gonna say, let's just have a clear, concise purpose on your YouTube going into 2025. Circle people cars at 6 a.m. in the morning. Um, just don't. And we are out.
Peace.